All right, today we're going to get through the offseason. And before we get anything, let's take a look and see how much money that teams around the league have to spend in this offseason. And as you can see, obviously the team with the most money to spend is the team that was probably going to spend the most money anyway, the LA Dodgers. Two of our divisional rivals in the Red Sox and the Yankees are in the top 5, as well as Tampa was in the top 7, and Baltimore is number 9. As we keep scrolling and scrolling, oh shit, we're at the bottom. Not the bottom, actually the Mets somehow have less money to spend than we do. So we've got to be very careful as to how we spend. I mean, listen, we have needs just like other teams in the have needs. Maybe we'll have to shed some salary. Maybe we'll find some diamonds in the rough that aren't that expensive. But what we do know is we will be getting back Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Lourdes Gurriel. At least according to all reports, that's the case. As far as exclusive free agents, we've got 3 of them: Josh Bell, David Phelps, and Ross Stripling. Get an idea how much everybody wants. Josh Bell wants a 5-year deal worth $21.5 million. The problem is, not that he can't play, it's that we won't have a spot for him, so it really wouldn't make sense to spend that type of money on him. Next is David Phelps, who spent the entire year in AAA. Solid, if not good player. Overall doesn't say that, but his hit per 9 and K per 9 are pretty solid. But he's 36 years old. Do we really want to waste the money there as opposed to just building up the bullpen in the farm system? And then lastly, we've got Ross Stripling, who I don't remember playing. Oh yeah, he did play. See, I never pitched for them very much, so I can't really say how well he did. The numbers are on the screen as you see there, 4.70 ERA. He is an outright free agent. He's 33 years old, and I do like the mix of pitches that he has. The thing is, how much does he want? He wants 4 years for just under $4 million. It's less than $1 million a year. We can give him that money. But do I really want to? Because he'd just sit in the minors, if anything. I'm sure there'll be better options out there in free agency. So what we are just going to do is move on from all 3 of these individuals. I'm actually a little surprised that Josh Bell isn't a qualified free agent, but I guess because of his overall, that's not the case, or whatever the case may be. As far as staff, we've got some work to do. We can either fire Charlie Montoya, as what happened in real life. He got fired mid-season. As you can see, only gives us +1 clutch. Bunting, which I don't do very often, hit per 9 is -1 and speed is -2. We could keep the hitting coach, though it's a -2 for power. Plate discipline and clutch are up to. Drag bunting we don't care about unless Roman Quinn is out there, and he's not even a good bunter. We have no pitching coach. First base coach, he can stay. -2 on blocking isn't the worst thing in the world. I don't think we have that many wild pitches, so I'm not too concerned. And he gives us better reaction to steal and speed as well. Justin Bautista, no relation to Jose, though it would be nice to have his power back, back in the early 2010s, but we don't have that, as he is a farm director. -3 durability, -1 clutch, but you get the plate discipline and +3 power. So let's see who is even out there on the market. As a matter of fact, I think I'll just show you guys who I end up signing. All right, Jose Moya is going to accept the pitching coach position for 5 years. I'd show you the attributes, but I don't really feel like it. All right, jumping into actual free agency, let's see who is on the market. As you can see, those 4 names, any one of them could be on our team. Just depends on how things play out. We've got Aaron Judge, Trey Turner, Clayton Kershaw, Max Muncy, Aaron Nola, Joey Gallo, Enrique Hernandez, JD Martinez. So there are a lot of guys here who could be on this team. It's just a matter of will they fit? Will they cost us an arm and a leg? We have $87.76 million to play with. How will we play? Will we be swimming in it like Scrooge McDuck, or will we actually spend it and improve this team? Here are the individuals I decided to give a contract offer to. This was actually the last one I actually decided to. Ketel Marte. Yes, That Ketel Marte from the Desert Venom series back in MLB The Show 21. He's a free agent. I'd be kind of stupid not to at least see if he'll bite. Let's be honest. He's got contact. He's got some power, especially against lefties. And he's a decent fielder. I'm not asking him to play center field, unlike how I did in the Desert Venom series. Also, I ended up moving him to second, but Madrigal is going to be our second baseman. So, if we're going to replace Raimel Tapia, this is what we would get or hope to get. 30 home runs, 80 RBIs, a 280 average, 350 on base percentage pretty much every year. If he can give us that, there's no way in hell we're not at the very least a playoff team, if not a contender. Said contract is a 3-year, $45 million deal, $15 million a year, and I front-loaded it because, well, it's not like he's not going to take it, let's be honest. And we've got the money to spend, why not spend it? Also went with a relief pitcher, Roger Delabate. I'm not sure how to say it, but it doesn't matter. He's young. He's a decent reliever. He'll be in at least AAA. Maybe he'll be a major leaguer. You never know how things play out. Just because I don't like to pay that much for relievers, but I will also take a look at the Rule 5 draft coming up. Anyways, also alongside him, we went with David Ferreira. Again, another young guy, throws pretty well. He might really be at the major league level, depending on how things play out. I will more than likely up that deal just because I feel like I'm lowballing him here. If I think he's a reliever, if I think he's a major league reliever, then he'll be there. Alejandro de Castilla, can't really field worth a damn. Is okay speed-wise, but he's a bat. If anything, we will put him more than likely at the major league level. I mean, I know that A potential might not mean a ton at the age of 28, but he could be a DH, and we can move somebody else to the corner outfield depending on how things play out contract-wise. Also, we went to sign Alonso Gonzalez, young guy, throws relatively hard. He's got some break to him. Walk per nine is decent enough, and he's young. And I really want to kind of dig out some of that, I guess, garbage and deep potential in the minors, so this is how we're going to roll. Alongside him, we went to sign Mr. Rob Morales. As you can see, high K per 9, good velocity, and he throws a pitch that honestly we don't see as much in the league anymore. A running fastball, not a sinker, not a two-seamer, but a running fastball, which is kind of like a reverse cutter. Will he be a major league talent? More than likely not. Probably not unless this year-to-year saves and we can, move forward in a couple years with him as a middle reliever. And lastly, I'm going to sign Mr. Mike Phillips. I have already looked at all of the players all throughout the entire free agency. If you haven't already seen my 40-man roster off-season type video, it is in the description. It is also on the channel. You can't miss it. A little lengthy, but it's worth it. This guy has good hit per 9. I like the pitch mix, the two-seam, the slurve, and the sweeping curve. Should be getting guys out. He might be sneaky good for all we know. So let's move forward and see who we actually sign and, see how things play out. On second thought, crap, I forgot to do my salary arbitration offers. I'll show you what I'm giving everybody. The arbitration offers or other contracts are as follows. Bo Bichette, we're going to offer him 4 years, $84.3 million. Listen, you put up 25 home runs and over 75 RBIs, I have to pay you. There's no way around it. Teoscar Hernandez, we're going to give him a 3-year deal for about the same amount of money he made last year. Santiago Espinal, we're going to give him a 2-year deal worth $8 million in total. Did not offer the last 3 players arbitration for the sake of, let's be real. Sometimes guys just don't sign a contract and, we're going to let them walk. It's not the end of the world. Julian Merriweather will be offered a $1.6 million deal for 1 year, and Baruki will also be offered a 1-year deal, but for $1.1 million. Tender contracts go as follows. Alek Manoah is going to get his money. We are going to buy out his renewal and all of his arbitration years by giving him a 5-year, $65 million deal, which honestly is a hometown discount. You know, a lot of teams nowadays are giving their own homegrown talent long-term deals. I'm not going to give him anywhere near the type of deal a guy like Fernando Tatis would get, but he is still going to get good money. I think that's about $13 million a year, and he's already a 90 overall at the age of 25. He can't really get that much worse, can he? Alejandro Kirk is going to come back on a 2-year deal, well, hopefully. Gabriel Moreno is going to get his deal, despite the fact I never called him up. But there seems to be some kind of glitch in MLB The Show where if a guy's on the 40-man roster and you are going into the offseason, you'll end up, or they may end up with .002, that's 2 days of service time regardless. So nothing I can do about it, and I'm paying him $700,000. It's not that big of a deal. Listen, I'm probably dealing Kirk, but I got to see what's out there first once he signs a contract. Samad Taylor, really a lot of these guys are all backup guys, or, you know, you've seen Jose De Leon. And again, most of these guys are all just depth for the minors, with the exception probably of a guy like Nate Peterson. He was a starter. He's a reliever right now. He may very well be our 5th starter. We will see in spring training. If he is good enough, then he'll stay up. If not, we'll send his ass back down. I'm not too concerned. But yeah, most of these guys are all guys that, you know, you may see in the future, you may not. You know, you got to fill out the minors somehow, some way, and usually a lot of that is by retaining your own talent. Oh, as you can see, we have a lot of pending offers, more than we have an available budget, so somebody's probably going to walk. I'm not sure who. I think we may know who it'll be. Daniel Wright has accepted the third base coach offer. I honestly forgot I even offered him anything, but hey, we'll take whatever positives he can give to us. Free agency begins as follows. Luis Severino signs a 3-year, $33 million contract with the Giants. And that's really about it thus far. Well, not true. Taylor Rogers goes back to the Giants. We retain Alek Manoah. We really weren't going to lose him. Aaron Nola gets a 5-year, $144 million deal. Trey Turner returns to LA, and Joe Musgrove returns to San Diego on a lesser contract than he got in real life. He got $100 million. MLB The Show is different. Closer Garrett Whitlock returns to Boston. Bo Bichette avoids arbitration, signing his 4-year, $84.3 million deal. And Trevor Rogers goes back to, I believe that was Miami. Take a look at how much money we got. We've got $46 million, and oh boy, the difference between our available budget and our pending offers is the price of Ketel Marte. I think we know what we got to do. Big time moves by the Giants. Signing Aaron Judge, 8 years, $237 million. There's another $600,000 in there, but I feel like it doesn't matter. He's making a lot of money in a state that taxes like crazy. But listen, these are the numbers he put up. He has earned this contract, and oh man, we may have a shot at the division, assuming the Yankees don't do anything too crazy in this offseason. That is a big time move. Chad Green going to St. Louis, 4 years, $27.6 million. Meanwhile, we continue to wait for both Alejandro Castilla, a right fielder, and Ketel Marte to sign with us. Ketel, just accept your contract. Come on, man. We paying you good money. You don't want to go back to the desert. Remember how long it took us to make the playoffs? Emmanuel Clase and Jazz Chisholm will stay put where they are in Cleveland and Miami, respectively, as both men were under arbitration. Kenley Jensen, after a year in Atlanta, sends himself right back to LA. $12 million. Oh, man. You know what? That's a come up, man. That is a come up for him because I know he wasn't making that much originally as a Dodger. It's November 20th, and to be honest, I have already set my 40-man roster, so the 35 that we have on there are who we're going to have, and everybody else will just be eligible for the Rule 5 draft. Oh, and JD Martinez returns to Boston, $8.8 million over 1 year. Alejandro Castilla actually has signed his contract. It wasn't much, so I'm really not that surprised. It was more than he was making before, which was nothing. We continue to wait on Ketel Marte. We continue to wait. Clayton Kershaw is going to return to LA as well. $22 million for 1 single year. For ourselves, Teoscar Hernandez will return to Toronto. 3 years, $31.5 million, which I think is probably a steal given what he can do for us offensively. Here's where we rank as we go and get closer and closer to the Rule 5 draft. We are pretty good, if not in the top 10 in most of our positions, the exceptions being second base, center field, catcher, and I guess relief pitcher, closer, though I'm not sure exactly how they come up with that one. Joey Gallo is going to join, hopefully, or for his sake, hopefully, Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout in the outfield. He signs a 6-year, $76 million contract, coming off a pretty good season as a New York Yankee, which is kind of funny because he already ended up in LA in real life. This time, he's in the American League. The World Series MVP is going to Houston. That's weird because the Dodgers played Houston in the World Series and lost in 7. So maybe they figure, hey, if we sign the guy that pretty much beat us, we should be world champions. He actually put up pretty good numbers in the regular season. So you know what? This isn't a bad move at all. 4 years, $44 million. I don't know if I'd have given him 4 years, but you never know. He could still be productive in year 3 and 4. Wilson Contreras is going to be in Atlanta. I think he was already there. I wasn't paying attention. 3 years, $29 million. No, I'm thinking of the other Contreras. Anyways, the Contreras brothers are playing together in some way, shape, or form. That's actually pretty dope. And Enrique Hernandez is going to New York, playing second base. 5 years, $50 million. Nathan Eovaldi, 2 years. He got a bag. Damn. $46.2 million. That's $23 million per year. With a 3.9 ERA and 178 strikeouts. Yo, the Brewers, they continue to bolster their pitching staff. A former Desert Venom player comes to Toronto, coming to heat up the cold Canadian air. He signs with us. We front-loaded the deal, and he is going to be one of our outfielders. Still not sure which one. More than likely corner, outfield, either right or left, depending on how I feel. But no, this is big time to bolster our offense, and I guess we'll figure things out pitching-wise, as Hyun-Jin Ryu is still a part of this team at this moment. I've been looking around for deals. I might have found 1 or 2 that look decent. We'll see if I actually pull the trigger on any of them anytime soon. On to the Rule 5 draft, which I'm not 100% sure I'll even take anybody, but hey, doesn't hurt to look. In said Rule 5 draft, we have the 11th pick, and not everybody takes a player, at any point in time in the Rule 5 draft. Some teams just, choose to sit out, which is completely understandable, as a lot of the guys in the Rule 5 draft are okay, but they might not really warrant a roster spot for everybody. Speaking of, Samad Taylor, who was a part of our roster, is actually going to now be a Pittsburgh Pirate, which this might be a good thing for him. He's okay, if not solid across the board. Hopefully he can raise his potential from where he was as a Toronto Blue Jay player, or really a Buffalo Bison, to Pittsburgh, who, let's be honest, they stink. They stink. They need all the, kicking of the tires of players that they can manage. So it doesn't hurt, especially considering we have Madrigal at second at the MLB level, and we have Santiago Espinal, who can perfectly play second, third, or shortstop if we need him to. Rule 5 draft, we are actually going to take Seth Elledge. Pretty good hit per 9, pretty good K per 9. He's got 2 fastballs and a slider. I wish he had another pitch to go with it, maybe a changeup, but he's young, and we kind of got to cut some costs somewhere. We've been spending a lot of money, so we're going to choose Seth Elledge. I'm not sure if anybody else is really going to be an option for us here in this draft, but doesn't hurt to see. February 1st, and well, this is a surprise. Tim Anderson is going to Pittsburgh. I would have expected him to spend money. Granted, they did not spend all that much, but don't they have O'Neal Cruz on the roster? Hey, whatever. Maybe one guy will be the DH, maybe one will be the actual starting shortstop. Arbitration week, we have 10 players within the next 4 days that we will see whether we have, or they have won arbitration or whether we have won arbitration. Doesn't really make a difference to me, but given how much budget we have, it might make a difference. Let's see. Jordan Romano, they have sided with him. He'll be making 1.6, blah, 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 almost 1.7 million. Guerrero will be making 10 million. I offered him 10 million. I think he originally was slated to make 5. I couldn't justify that. Let's be real. Even if he's coming off a major injury, Danny Jansen will be making $2.6+ million. That's, I'm gonna be honest, that's probably a little low, but it's a solid amount of money. Trevor Richards will be making 1.57 blah 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 million dollars. Roman Quinn will be making $1.2+ million. Nick Madrigal, $2.2 million. Some of these contracts are probably a little under what a guy's worth really is, but it's arbitration, and this game's a little broken. Or else I probably would have offered them, quote unquote, real contracts. And lastly, Adam Simber, $2.16 million. Tim Meza, $1.7 million. And Raimel Tapia will be making $4.3 million. Couldn't really justify letting him go at this point. He will at least be a 4th outfielder, and we'll figure out the rest of the roster as we go. Just before spring training, we have come to a deal with the Colorado Rockies. We will be trading Hyun-Jin Ryu in exchange for Antonio Gomez, a catcher from Venezuela, a starting pitcher, David Shin, far away, there it is. Switch hitter, not that matters. Right-hander from South Korea. I said normal Korea, not normal Korea, regular Korea. That made no sense. Anyways, and Alejandro Castro, a very hard-throwing reliever, 20 years old, lefty from Puerto Rico. That'll give us 87 players on the roster, and I'll just fill in the rest before we get to spring training. Or really before the minor league seasons start.